Hello. I'm here with Ben, the developer. Developer?
Yeah.
Okay. The developer of Color Jumper and Death Drives a Bus. Ben,
Yes.
can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My name is Ben Burns. I go online by Ben_Burns pretty much everywhere. I have a background in game development and music production, and I made both Color Jumper and Death Drives a Bus, and I'm very, very happy with both of those. Color Jumper came out today on the Switch, which you mentioned in the intro video, and I'm excited about that. And Death Drives the Bus is coming to Steam soon. The page is up for wish listing, but right now it's available on itch.
Can you tell me a little bit about Death Drives a Bus?
Sure. So Death Drives the Bus is a 2D puzzle game where you are Death, but your horse has fallen ill, so you have to drive a bus instead to pick up wayward spirits and deliver them to heaven or heck. I am really, really happy with this one. This is my quarantine game. I started this one in February. And actually, I started this right around the time my wife got Animal Crossing. I remember sitting with my laptop making this game, and then her sitting, at the desk playing Animal Crossing, and then like Googling stuff for her when she had questions about the game, and we kind of did the whole back and forth on that. But I'm really happy with this one as well, just because it kind of evolved into this really unique little idea where it's about conserving your gas. Essentially, you have turns in the game. It's a turn-based game. It's not like a time pressure game. So every turn you burn gas, and when you run out of gas, you lose the level. So you have to deliver all the spirits before you run out of gas. And I had a lot of fun kind of putting it together, and again, like designing all the puzzles for it. It's real difficult to think up different ways to take the mechanics that you've implemented and find different ways that you can use those mechanics to make each level interesting. This is also my first attempt at like one bit pixel art, which it's like pseudo 1-bit. It's not like true to form 1-bit pixel art, but I tried really hard, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Like working on such a small palette is difficult.
Now, did you make both of these games wholly yourself? The art and
Yes.
wow.
Yeah. I have about 20 years experience writing music, and I more recently got into game development, but I have a background in programming as well. So I've been making music for video games for probably the past 7 years now. So it was definitely a way for me to kind of expand my abilities and just try some new stuff. And I think that there's a lot to be said about just I'm not the best at all of this stuff, but I'm definitely pleased with how all this came out.
I mean, it's for sure impressive when someone can cover all of the aspects of a game, because I mean, you have to be an artist, you have to be a programmer, you have to be a musician, and you are doing that all. And I don't think if you show someone a game that looks as good as both of these games and say one person did it, they're gonna be like, wow. So
Oh yeah, I'm always blown away when it comes to like Axiom Verge or Undertale or all of these like huge games, and they're all boils down to one person. I think Stardew Valley is a
oh yeah,
one
yeah.
person dev team, as well as Forager. Like all these games are like huge and like beautiful and massive, and it's just like how all of this can like come down to one person. Like I'm really happy that I have that. I've also fallen into the same traps as a developer, where the developer side of me and the musician side of me come at odds sometimes, where sometimes when I'm working with other people on a project, like the music is always like left until the last thing, and it's like, well, we need this full album in a month. And I was like, when I was working at Color Jumper, I was telling myself, oh, well, I'm not going to do that to myself, and I did the exact same thing, where it's like, oh no, I'm releasing this in a month and I still have like 5 songs to write. So I've definitely fallen into the same trap before.
So what inspired Death Drives the Bus? Like what? I guess it's Color Jumper was such a fast-paced game, and this was a
It's
one.
much,
Yeah, as
yeah,
much time as you want. It's almost
yeah, it's much slower paced. I got the idea. I have like a Twitter thread about it that I can find, and I'll put it in the chat. But I had the idea when I was driving into work back in like December of 2019, where it's just like, well, what if you were like stuck in traffic, but you had to like pick up all these spirits before they rampaged around the town, like in the old NES Ghostbusters game. And a lot of that got cut out and reworked, but I started the project in February, like I said, while under quarantine, just like trying to figure out how to make a road system. You can see in the background here, like all of the roads, like the sprites are dynamically picked and placed. So all I have to do is draw the path, and it does all of that for me. And it was kind of just a proof of concept to see if I could make something like that. And once I did, I was like, well, I might as well use this for something. So I just kind of kept working out the mechanics of that first idea that I had. And it turned out like it just kept evolving over time. Initially, like I had the spirits have their own individual timers and you had to go to them, and that just made things more confusing. So I just changed it. So it was the bus just had gas, and if you ran out of gas, you lost. And I think that worked a lot better when it came to that. So this was definitely an evolution where Color Jumper was more just like, this is the mechanic, go do something with it. And yeah, I really like how it came out.
Okay, so with this game, it is a puzzle game.
Yes.
Does each puzzle only have one solution, or
No? I tend to either I find it or somebody else playing it finds a better solution. Excuse me. And I'm like, oh well, I'm just dumb then. because like you have a limited amount of time, and it's like I try to make each level so you have like 0 to 3 turns left. So there's like some kind of imminent danger of you losing. And I've seen some people solve puzzles with like 12 turns left, and I'm like, oh, I didn't think of that. So I might like try to patch the solution in at some point, but really it's like, I like the idea of making the player feel smart. Like, and it's the same thing with Color Jumper. I like the idea of making sure that like the player doesn't blame the game for the failure. It's always like, I figured it out. I'm really smart. And that's how it all works. And I'm really pleased with how I like puzzle games. Making puzzle game levels is hard sometimes, but I really like the idea of puzzle games and how they can like just help make people think in different ways.
yeah, I guess can you tell me what it actually, like, what kind of thought process you have to go through as making a puzzle level? Because it's like the thought process to solve a puzzle is very different from what you assume making one.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, this goes for both Color Jumper and Death Drives the Bus, where when you get past the point where you're just introducing mechanics, a lot of the level design revolves around how do you want these mechanics to interact in a certain way. So there's in the background of our talk right here, you can see that there's other cars that kind of move around and get in your way. And there's a couple levels where you're kind of forced to push those cars around and move them out of the way, or just like trap them in a corner. There are other times where there's like gas cans that refill your counter. So there are some levels where you have to preserve those gas cans, or there's some levels where there's just gas cans everywhere and you only have like 5 moves to get between gas cans. So it's like just finding different ways to take the mechanics that you have available to you and just exploit them in different ways that make the game unique. Like one of my biggest pet peeves with puzzle games is when they just kind of like reskin like a beginner level and just like make it harder by adding a bunch more like saw blades. I don't want to put Super Meat Boy on blast, but they do that a lot. But like I really like the idea of each level being unique and not just being like, well, this is the level you beat 20 levels ago, but now it's harder. And but yeah, like it's just taking currently existing mechanics and mashing them together in interesting ways. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is Death Drives the Bus. Is there anything else you would like us to know?
No, I mean, this will also be available during 2DCon all weekend. If you want more information about either of these games, I am available on Twitter at Ben_Burns. That's BURNES. I also stream on Twitch pretty regularly. I do music production on Wednesdays and random game development thing on Saturdays. And that's just twitch.tv/Ben_Burns. Again, BURNES. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Thanks for all the questions.
Thanks for talking.